Coming to you from the Safe Space Studios, I'm Brodor, and this is a Why We Game product review. Now, I'm standing up as opposed to sitting, how I normally film, because I wanted to be able to move around a little bit and emote a little more and show you the product I'm about to review a little bit in depth, but also it gives you a little bit of some insight as to my board game collection. And although I'm going to be reviewing a role-playing game module today for 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons, you'll get to look at some of my board games, and I don't know, is that irony? Anyway, the point is I am going to review a module called The Darkest Dream, or Chapter 1 in the Red Star Rising campaign from GUI Cube. And again, that is fully compatible with 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons. Now, I have never run a module before ever. I've played in modules, I've owned modules, I've read through some of modules, but honestly, I've never read one cover to cover, and I've never just had any interest in running one until now. But I guess as a kid, I felt very arrogant, you know. I guess it was hubris. I just thought, I'm creative, I'm smart, I'm gonna do this thing and I don't need somebody else to do it for me, darn it. But also for me, the real fun is the creation, right? Working with the players at the table and creating the world and making it real. That was the thing, well, it still is the thing that I really adore about the hobby, and so I never wanted to give that up. But I think that I've done myself as a creator, as a game master, a disservice having not run modules, and also I'm sure that in the end that is a disservice to my players, because I'm not the best game master that I could be. Now, they say if you want to be a writer, you should read. If you want to be a filmmaker, you should consume film. And something that I've never done as a game writer, even though I'm an amateur and I just do it privately in my home, I've never studied how professionals write games, how they structure games, how they structure encounters. And although I have had the pleasure of sitting at the table of some truly, really talented individuals in terms of game mastering and storytelling and just writing in general, I've never seen it done by a quote-unquote professional, right? And so I think that there are lessons there. I don't think, I'm certain, right? I'm confident there are lessons there that I could have learned, should have learned years ago. But I've also just never wanted to do it, right? I've never picked one up and thought, this is really cool, I want to run this one, until now. And that's because for me, this product achieves the fabled Sun Tzu threefold victory. And I'll break it down for you in those three parts. The first victory is world building. You get a huge stack of these full color pieces of art handouts that correspond to the module that you get to give your players in various points. Really very cool. But in addition to just that, where they give you simply art of the world to help you immerse yourself into it, they also give you a huge stack of 24 two-sided characters of races that are unique to their weirded world from GUI Cube. And each of those character sheets has a big picture on one side with a bio about the character, and on the other side it's got that character's particular particular statistics. But they also provide you with a stack of full color character NPC portraits that are also laid out in the book, corresponded to when you should show those to your PCs. And on the front of the card, it's just a big portrait of the NPC, and on the back it gives you a little bit of information about that NPC. They also give you item cards and these GUI reward cards that I'll get to later, but there are a ton of bits and bobs that you can hand out to your players to help them enrich themselves in what GUI calls an immersive experience. Additionally, you get a player handout that's going to give you some vital information about the world, including a glossary. And fuck, I love a glossary, right? Like, I love when an author has words in the world and there's something at the back of the book that I can look at. I mean, the only thing better than that's a fucking map, right? But if I have a glossary of terms and there's a truncated one you have there to hand out to your players, it's really, really very slick. And they have really steeped themselves in their own world. And for me, whether it's films or books, television, whatever, the thing that's most important to me is imagination. Better than any of the aesthetics, more important than a writer's style is, do I feel that there's a rich world there? And from GUI, I think that it's undeniable that the world is rich. Maybe like some confections, it might be a little too rich for my taste, but that's beside the point. They have built a world with tremendous depth that has a lot of interesting facets that I am curious about exploring. Now, the next victory is production and playability. You get a lot in this box, in addition to the adventure handouts and the NPC portraits and the bonus cards and the item cards and the two booklets you get. One is the story booklet and the second is the GM reference booklet, which both, by the way, are spiral bound for easy flipping and folding over. It's absolutely fantastic. But you get this basically this little pamphlet that gives you the glossary. By the way, the player handout has the full glossary. I was mistaken. But the first thing you see is this letter that says, "Read me first," which is going to essentially introduce you to the GUI cube, as they call it, immersive experience. And so they want you to understand that for the GUI cube philosophy, preparation's important, and they wanted to make preparation for you as easy as possible. They wanted to make your game as immersive as possible, and you have to really understand that these are not simple one-shots, but they're narratives that build upon one another and really help you or allow you to explore the weirded world from GUI. And for 60 bucks, it's absolutely amazing. There's no way that the WWG party or that Paizo would be able to do such a thing for under 200 bucks. It's really, really remarkable. But then the layout of the book is such that when you open the booklet up, it's going to tell you exactly when you're going to show which particular picture or portrait, when that item card is going to be available. When you take stuff out of the shrink wrap, it's in friggin' order. Everything is labeled and marked. They're color coded, and any of that cool GM information isn't in your storybook. So when you're looking through the storybook and talking to the PCs about the world and the adventure and yada yada, there's no risk of them seeing any of the secret DM material. But more importantly, and I think the salient issue is, it's not in your fucking way, right? None of the monster stats and all of that garbage that I don't want to have to bother through when I'm doing RP and storytelling, none of that is there. You only have to access it when it's necessary, and you don't have to work your way through it. I absolutely love it. It's got side quests. It's got all these other cool avenues and things that you can explore. It has a not so random encounter table so that your player characters, there are NPCs that you can study, that you can understand, that you can develop on your own, that you can be kind of confident that the player characters are going to encounter or are likely to encounter, and just anything that for me as a game master allows me to get ahead of the preparation and understanding the world, but then also gives room for me to breathe and to let it be mine. Oh, absolutely fantastic. And I have to say, even though 6th edition D&D is probably going to come out in 2024, in honor of the 50th anniversary of Dungeons & Dragons, there's still plenty of life left in 5e, and frankly, I think this is probably going to be the first module that I try to run, and its playability, its structure and layout, it's probably going to ruin me for all other modules. The final victory may be the most significant one, and that's community. It was incredible to see at their table in various vending halls at different conventions, the people that would come up not just to buy product, but to explain to the people on the other side of the table how much they really appreciated the product, the world, the creativity, and the interaction that they had with them both in person and online. It's clear that GUI Cube really cares about the community of gamers as much as they care about, if not more than they care about their product. They want to have an all-around experience for you, and they want you to feel good about the people from whom you're buying product. But also they really want to create an environment where you can communicate with them as a fan about the world. If you're a professional, whether you're interested in writing or in art, they want to create opportunities for people to get into the hobby. So they care about you as the consumer, but they care about you as the fellow gamer. So much so that they want to make sure that you get a quality product at a good price. Now, there's a couple things that I would want to see done differently, but they're really fucking nitpicky. I think it's a great product, and I suspect that I'm going to find myself ordering part 2 sometime in the near future.